Welcome back in. We are back at it yet again. It's the Week 6 2023 Fantasy Baseball Waiver Wire Pickups. I am Jason Beckner. You can find me on Twitter at JRBecks. Joined, like always, by JP. You can find him on Twitter at Dapscout. I know, this might be, we're in Week 6 now, but we still might have, you got to treat every video like it's the person's first. So,
Right.
if you're first time here, we've kind of run through about 6 guys that could be available on your waiver wire to help you with your leagues. If you want to get access to the accompanying article that is on the website at fantasysixpack.net, you're gonna have to sign up to become a member. You can do that by going over to fantasysixpack.net/plans, and in that article, it's going to kind of break down the 6 guys that we talk about, as well as 20 plus other names that are on the waiver wire, most likely in your leagues, that can help you. On top of that, you're going to get access to the most accurate fantasy baseball rankings according to Fantasy Pros. We got DFS content. We got betting projections. We also have a Discord where you can get great customized league advice from both JP, myself, and other Fantasy Six Pack members. So go ahead and sign up over there at fantasysixpack.net/plans. That's the business portion. Now let's get into the fun stuff.
You did it again. You did it again.
What
How is it that this is like week 6 and you always forget Dapscout's corner? I mean, Dapscout's pick of the week, man. I mean, that hurts me.
Damn it.
But it's all good. I'll forgive you again 6 times. But the other thing too, that it's over 50 names this no, it's fine. Again, you always undersell it, and I love that about you. But all the work that we do. But yeah, definitely we hope you come on down and subscribe with us.
Yes, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Daps corner or the pick of the week, which is
jerk.
Highly notarized. I feel like people are, sleeping on the Daps Scout pick of the week. So
yeah, like you. Yeah,
exactly. Not so much, and I keep forgetting about it, but
it's all good, man.
That's on me. That's on me, right? That's probably why I'm in last place in all my roto leagues.
All right.
Let's get into this week's guys. First guy we're going to talk about here is Lane Thomas, the outfielder for Washington Nationals. Currently, he's slashing 269, 328, and slugging 380. However, in the last 7 games, he is on fire, slugging now 684 in those last 7 games. He's got 2 home runs, 4 runs scored, 5 RBIs, a stolen base, and he's got a 421 ISO. This is a guy that was, kind of log jam back in St. Louis, kind of never really got that full-time playing time. Moves over to the Nationals now, and is kind of coming into his own. We saw a little bit of it last year. He's definitely becoming a serviceable outfielder. Right. I think, if you need, he's not going to outstand in one category, but he's going to provide 5 categories, not to an excellent level. But I think if you're looking for some sort of boost in your lineup, especially for like 4 outfielders, 5 outfield leagues, I mean, Lane Thomas should be rostered in more than just like 30% or whatever it was that he is. But what do you think about Lane Thomas?
So when we were doing the NL team previews, one of the callouts we made was, look, Lane Thomas is the best ball. I'm sorry to be redundant there, but the best ball kind of guy. It's one of those you put in there and he just kind of fills up the stat sheet very randomly. Do not go to his Savant page if you're going to get that. I mean, there's a lot of blue there. Exit velocity is near the bottom 5% and all that stuff, but he just gets it done. He's one of those, how do the old people say he's old school, he's scrappy, he's a lunch pail kid. He just gets it done. Yeah. And especially with the Nationals being the Nationals and how bad they are. Again, I always look for people, if I'm going to try to pick somebody up, is it going to be kind of one of those 3 things, right? Kind of somebody who's just caught fire and we're just going to use them for that little span of time. Somebody who has absolutely all the playing time they need, and nobody's really kind of going after his playing time because of injury or because they're on a terrible team like the Nationals, or of course is a call up and a great player. And this is the second one, right? Somebody who has shown us that he can do this when he has the time to do it. And he's now has the playing time and he's definitely caught some fire as well.
Yeah. I mean, last time I checked, I didn't think X slugging was one of the top 5 offensive categories for fantasy baseball. So definitely push aside the, baseball savant advanced statistics and just focus on the statistics that actually do count for your fantasy baseball league, like RBIs.
And don't get us wrong. We're going to talk about savant all the time, but this is one of those where it's like, just don't look. Just don't look under the covers. Just enjoy the numbers.
Exactly. From one, hot hitting guy to the next. I think this one is actually one that we've been waiting on. I feel like me, especially as a Cub fan, me, I've been for one, we've been talking about a ton of Oakland Athletics guys, so I think it's appropriate that we finally focus on my Cubs for once.
Hey, come on now. I don't have a lot of joy in my life right now. So,
hey, Brent Rooker's bringing a lot of joy to your life. So,
thank you. But go ahead, Matt Mervis.
Yeah, we're talking about Matt Mervis, first base for the Cubs. This has been, he was just called up last week, and this is one of the calls we've been waiting for a while now. Especially if you need power in your lineup, this guy was a huge breakout in 2022 in the minors. He had 29 home runs across two AA and AAA last year. And then he followed that up by hitting 6 more in the Arizona Fall League, which led the Arizona Fall League in home runs. Got a ton of power. The Cubs, David Ross has even come out now and said, we're going to kind of push Eric Hosmer to a reserve role, bench role, defensive replacement near the end of the game. So Matt Mervis is going to get the at-bats. They want to see what they have in him. And he's already shown out in his first 2 games. He's already got back-to-back games with an RBI. The power is there. It will eventually come. I think for whatever reason, if you have a chance of getting Matt Mervis, even if you don't need the power, you need first baseman or whatever, get all in on Matt Mervis.
So first off, if you've watched any Cubs games like you have, or if you watched any San Diego games, Hosmer should have been benched a long time ago. We even talked about this in the team previews. Again, sorry to bring these up, but yeah, Hosmer, I mean, we were just like, ugh. I mean, unless some magical thing happened. But yeah, if you are anywhere near baseball Twitter, Matt Mervis has been yelled for quite some time in all capital letters. Now, we haven't seen the home runs yet or anything like that, but there's a couple things, of course, working for him, right? First off, Wrigley is phenomenal if you can catch any type of those wind currents, especially as it starts heating up over there as well. So, he's really going to enjoy that. He has hit a lot of power in the minors, and this isn't a guy who's just going to get up there, strike out a bunch, and hit a bunch of home runs like Mr. Wisdom, right? This is somebody who is always shown, high on base percentage. He is selective, and like you said, he's a masher. So yes, there's going to be, of course, the normal rookie pitfalls they always have, I assume. But beyond that, Matt Mervis is a guy, and if you have him on the waiver wire, go grab him. He should be 100% owned by the end of this week. There's absolutely no reason not to have him selected because, like you said, Chicago's giving me the opportunity, which is what we talk about all the time with these guys. And the second part is his pedigree is amazing. This guy has been a masher for forever. So yes, go grab him. Yeah,
100%. The playing time's there. The only way to get fancy production is with opportunity, and the opportunities are there. So go ahead and get Matt Mervis off that waiver wire. Next guy we're going to go and talk to now about is Ezequiel Tovar, the shortstop for the Colorado Rockies. I know me and you both kind of had the same outlook going into the season, especially in these deeper leagues. He was someone that I think both of us were targeting at the beginning of the year, and it's like a late round. If you miss out on a lot of those shortstop runs at the beginning of the draft, hey, just fall back on Tovar. He plays half his games in Colorado. He's shown that for one, we've noticed too that Colorado is now giving one of their top prospects a chance, which is almost unheard of for Colorado. But he's kind of shown out that he can actually play. Started off as a little bit of a slow start. However, he now has a 7-game hit streak. He's slowly putting things together at the plate. Again, he's hit in 8 of his last 10 games. Is still striking out a little bit too high, but again, he's rookie. That's going to happen with a lot of these rookies. They're going to strike out over 25% of the time. But yeah, I mean, the contact hitting is there. I wouldn't expect the huge power numbers, but high average. He's going to get on base. He's going to get steals. If you just find something off the waiver like that right now, that's great. I'm all in on Tovar.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've been waiting for Tovar almost as long as Mervis, right? Again, any type of Colorado player, everyday player, right? It's Colorado. We really are expecting some great numbers in either the power category or if they're not a power hitter, then, creating runs and things of that nature. The one thing that we have not gotten from Tovar, and the thing that a lot of people went out to grab him for, was stolen bases. Right now, Tovar actually has more home runs than stolen bases. He has 1 home run and 0 stolen bases. The stolen bases will come. I mean, for a couple different reasons. One, he stole them all the time in the minors. I mean, we're talking about 24 in 2021, and then when he was in between A and high A ball. I mean, and then between AA and AAA, he had 17. I mean, this somebody with speed. And then, of course, with the new stolen base rules, mostly the pickoff rules, this is somebody that should be going wild. I think it's one of those situations where he's probably really focused on his hitting. He's been told to just get on base, let us hit you around. But once things open up there, you're going to have somebody who can at least give you 4 categories, right? Runs. He's always been a great on-base percentage person throughout the minors, over 300 average. And of course, again, Colorado, we're going to be getting probably single-digit home runs. But if you're getting those other 4 categories, I mean, that's pretty darn great, especially, again, in a shortstop, which is not the deepest of, positions in the major leagues. So, yes, Tovar is definitely a thing to pick out. Another thing to just kind of highlight here real quick, he's 21 years old, right? So this is a young kid who is in the majors, and we've seen, the young kid in the majors who just flourishes, and we're like, wow, everybody should do this. But we also seen the young kid in the majors, about 2 choices from now, we're going to tell you about another one, who come up and they don't do so well. So you got to give them a little bit of leeway there. I expect the stolen bases to come. Because what I've seen with a lot of these speedsters, right, is the stolen bases lead to them getting more confidence, and then that starts to snowball more and more things. And that gets them kind of excited, and they can really become kind of the spark plug for the entire offense. And that's what Tovar is. He's an absolute spark plug, and he should be in your lineup.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. It's a good call out. I think a lot of times he was maybe focusing more on getting on base before stealing a base. So now that the on base, that's getting on base, getting the hits, I would exactly for sure start to see the stolen bases start to climb up here and actually start stealing some bases.
Right.
All right. Well, we've talked to a few hitters now, so I think it's time, only rightfully so, that we talk about the next pitcher or the next call up that just continues to happen as we get more and more injuries. And that's going to be Bryce Miller, starting pitcher for the Seattle Mariners. He's the Mariners' number 2 prospect. He made his debut this last week and looked absolutely dominant. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 run on 2 hits, but he had 10 Ks to 0 walks. If you got a rookie coming up making his debut and the command is there to get 10 Ks and no walks, that is an absolute domination from a rookie. It was the A's. I don't want to shit on your A's, but it was the A's. But still, he had the fastball cutter working. He got a combined 13 whiffs on those 2 pitches, which combined for 30% or 29% chase rate. They've announced that he will make a next start in his rotation, and if he can continue to pitch this well, Robbie Ray was just announced that he's been shut down for the year, so there's a rotation spot open for him. Like we keep saying, opportunity leads to fantasy production, so the opportunities are there. If you absolutely need yet another, and I feel like it's always just another Miller, right? How many Miller? Everyone's going to get these Millers mixed. Make sure when you go to your wire, you're picking the right Miller starting pitching prospect.
For Seattle.
Yeah.
Right.
From Seattle.
Right. No, look, let me give you a couple names here. So 10 plus strikeouts with no walks in their MLB debut. Okay. Let me give you a couple names.
Yeah, I love
it. Johnny Cueto in 2008, Steven Strasburg, Bryce Miller. That's the names. That's 3 of them.
Company. That's good company.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're looking at it. First of all, we've had a ton of injuries already. We've talked about this probably on 20 different shows. There's been a ton of injuries. It's gotten to the point where I've actually looked through the waiver wires of a lot of my leagues, and it's almost as if whatever you have in your starting rotation right now, you should be happy with, because there's not much else out there, and especially not much more that you're going to kind of hope is getting called up anytime soon.
Right.
You need to grab and spend fab on these guys like Bryce Miller now. Because there's not a lot kind of next wave coming right now, at least not for the next couple of weeks, that I can even, see in any way, especially now with Tiedemann now being shut down for a while, and some of these other kind of big names. Bryce Miller has it. He pitches in a great pitcher's ballpark. He pitches in the AL West, which has shown that it has some pretty big holes in it, A's. Along with some other play, and the Rangers, who seem to be really up and down, and then the Angels, who, if you get past their big 2, then it's whatever. So this is a guy who's going to be able to get some wins for you and do a whole bunch of other things. I absolutely saw him early on as a call-up. I expected it more in June, but obviously with all the injuries, we got it in May. But yeah, he's got an amazing pedigree, amazing fastball. Bryce Miller is the man.
Yeah, I think we made a really good point where we're getting to the point now where it's like we're getting to that bulk of pitchers that are going to debut at some point this year are now getting pushed forward higher and higher earlier in the season because of all these injuries. And if you don't get these guys now,
Right.
There may not be a lot left out there, in a couple weeks or a month. And so get these guys, spend your fab on them now. We're getting close to that. The I guess, for lack of better terms, well drying up, right?
Well, I mean, in other years, right, it's been like, okay, well, we have, technically a 6th and 7th starting pitcher, but there are long relievers. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, we'll be fine because we have, Johnny Cueto, because we just said his name, right?
Yeah.
We have that guy, and we can at least grab somebody to give us innings. You don't have that right now. I mean, the long relievers out there are terrible. I mean, more so than past years. We don't really have that next up guy, especially just because the injuries have been so just hit everything so hard.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and jump back over to the hitting side. This time we're going to talk about Nick Senzel, the outfielder for Cincinnati Reds. He seems to be one of those guys that every year he's just sitting on your waiver. You pick him up and he fails you. However, I think again, I keep saying it a lot of times. I think some of the people that take these prospects for granted, right? They think that not all prospect are going to progress in linear fashion. Like they're going to hit speed bumps, especially when you get to the major league level. I mean, even top tier batters and hitters are going to have speed bumps in the major leagues. However, Senzel has been actually one of the lone bright spots for the Reds this year. He's slashing 288, 356, 455. Doesn't strike out a ton. He's putting the ball in play. He only strikes out 16% of the time. I think he's got a career 19% K rate. So he's not going to strike out a ton. He's reached base safely in 12 of his last 19 games. He's had 6 multi-hit games, which is always a great outlier for seeing some batter successes when multi-hit games.
Sure.
And also, he's multiple position eligible. Depending on what league you play in, he's definitely gonna be third and out, and maybe in some places second base. They're gonna find him. You're gonna find a place for his bat in that lineup. So, if you have some injuries or you need to fill in at one of the positions that second, third, or outfield, definitely be grabbing Nick Senzel off the waiver.
Yeah. So, I mean, Nick Senzel is somebody, especially in Dynasty, that we have had him out there for quite some time. Somebody that we expected great things. We were just talking, this what I alluded to is this player here when I was talking about, rookies that came up and didn't really produce. Senzel definitely had been touted the next, Mervis to come up and just do amazing, and he just didn't do it. I mean, he seems like he's putting together. The thing is, he has one of the best home ballparks outside of Colorado for a hitter. Cincinnati is phenomenal to hit in. And this week he was named the player of the week. Let's go over some of his numbers just for this week. If you would have owned him, right? 476 average, 560 on base percentage, 810 slugging, 8 home runs. I'm sorry, 2 home runs. 8 home runs would have been amazing. That's Rooker numbers. 2 home runs, 8 runs scored, and 9 RBIs. That pretty much wins your week if you would have had him this week. I mean, that's great. Yeah. So again, a couple things, right? He has the playing time, amazing home ballpark. Nick Senzel has the pedigree. He was always kind of that first round pick, high first round lottery pick. And it was always we're always waiting for this to happen. He always showed that he had this ability and just hasn't produced, and he finally is. So I hope it continues because he's definitely paid his dues. So I definitely am rooting for Nick Senzel, and I'm going to add him to my teams.
Yeah, I think can even make the argument that the Great American Ballpark might even be the best hitter's ballpark in the baseball, especially for the power numbers.
Right.
But for sure, that and Coors. Let's go ahead and jump over to the pitching side again one more time and wrap it up here with Michael King, the relief pitcher for the New York Yankees. There's some limbo in that bullpen. They keep running out Clay Holmes. He keeps blowing save after save after save. He just blew a save last week, and then they finally turned the page and given it. Seems to be like they've given the closer role to Michael King, who had a save just recently on this last Wednesday. And if you look at a lot of his pitch mix, it looks like he's relying less on the sinker and more on the fastball slider. He didn't really see a lot of success with that sinker, and he's kind of going back to I think a lot of people are going back to that sweeper slider motion, which he's kind of taken on this time. But I think if you need saves, like which everyone does, right? Everyone's chasing saves. Michael King is definitely somebody that you should be looking for.
Well, so first of all, get out of saves only leagues. Do saves plus holds. Those are, I'm kidding because I'm in saves leagues as well. But God, I hate when I have to be like, oh, this guy got a save. I hope he's now the closer because it's dumb. But you're in these leagues for 5-10 years. You just don't want to leave. All right, so here's some fun stats before we get into Michael King. Albert Abreu has a 5.02 ERA. Again, this is the Yankees bullpen.
Yep.
And then we have Michael King with a 1.56. The reason I bring up Albert Abreu is because he has the worst ERA in the pen. The second worst is Clay Holmes at 4.5 ERA, so 4.50. Yeah, so Clay Holmes is the closer. Yeah, that's not going to last. Yeah, he's just been bad, and we've talked about this all the time too with closers. It's not just having the stuff, right? You also have the mentality of it as well. Once you start losing that, or just not being able to throw, pitches for strikes, you're going to have a problem. And if you go to his Savant page, this is somebody you actually should go to the Savant page for, right? You'll see that he's pitching on the outside. He's really, going low and inside for the right-handed hitters, and low and high inside for the left-handed hitters. He's able to kind of work both sides of the plate. His batting average is 214, but his expected batting average, right? Expected on base is only 251, and they're only getting 84 miles an hour off of him as well. So we're looking at somebody who is allowing very little hard contact. He's only allowed 4 doubles for the year and 11 singles. I mean, 15 total hits and 76 plate appearances. That's not nothing, especially when the Yankees are looking for stability. The Yankees have a very, very short, unless you're, Knobloch, who's just can't launch it, right? They seem to have zero want to give anybody kind of that long leash. And so they're definitely going to replace or make a move permanently to Michael King. I have zero doubt about that. So if you're chasing saves, or if you're going to save for this whole league, the Yankees are going to win some games. Although right now their offense is so bad. But you hope they're going to win some games here very soon. They always seem to, because they're evil. And Michael King should be having a lot of save opportunities to do that.
Yeah, they're in an AL East that is highly competitive. Every team's over 500. They cannot be affording Clay Holmes to come out, keep running up and blowing saves. So they were definitely going to have a short leash with Clay Holmes. They're going to get the guy out there that's going to get the saves. And right now, I think that's Michael King.
Right.
I was going to go ahead and wrap up the week 6 of the waiver wire picks. Like I said, head on over to fantasysixpack.net, sign up, become a member. You're going to get 20 to 50 plus more names that are available on your waiver wire. And then other than that, we will all see you next week.